The city airport was unusually calm that morning. The sun had just begun to pour golden light through the wide glass windows, reflecting off the polished floors and metal railings. Travelers hurried along the corridors, some with coffee in hand, others with luggage rolling beside them. Announcements about flight delays and boarding times echoed through the terminal, creating a background hum that was familiar to anyone who had visited the airport before. Among the travelers, Officer Amir walked steadily with his canine partner Rex, a large German shepherd with deep brown eyes that seemed to notice everything. Rex's ears twitched at every sound. The soft roll of a suitcase, the click of high heels, even the faint hum of a cleaning machine. Amir had worked with Rex for over 3 years, and he trusted the dog's instincts more than any technology. Rex had saved lives before, and Amir knew that when the dog focused on something, it deserved attention. As they passed near Gate 12, Rex suddenly stopped. His body stiffened and his gaze locked onto the floor ahead. Amir noticed the sudden change in Rex's behavior and immediately slowed down. "What is it, Rex?" Amir asked softly, bending slightly to follow the dog's line of sight. On the shiny airport floor lay a small red shoe. It was worn at the edges and looked as though it had been abandoned for some time. The shoe was tiny, clearly belonging to a child, and it seemed completely out of place amidst the crowd of adult travelers. Amir's heart skipped a beat. In all his years patrolling the airport, he had rarely seen something that could signal trouble so quietly. Rex lowered his nose and sniffed the shoe carefully. His tail was rigid and he let out a low, almost hesitant growl, not aggressive but alert. Amir knew that Rex was sensing more than just the presence of a forgotten item. There was something hidden beneath the ordinary. Amir crouched slightly and picked up the shoe with gloved hands. This isn't just a lost shoe," he muttered. He looked around. People walked past without noticing the tiny shoe on the floor, some bumping into it lightly, unaware of what it could mean. Amir's eyes scanned the area for any sign of a child. "Call Sana," Amir said into his radio. "We might have a situation here." Within minutes, Officer Sana arrived, her expression curious. She was younger than Amir, but had the sharp intuition that made her a valuable partner. "What do you have?" she asked, glancing at the small red shoe in Amir's hand. "It looks like a child's shoe," Amir explained. "No child in sight. Rex is acting unusual. I think we need to check the area carefully." Sana knelt to inspect the shoe. "It's tiny. Whoever left this must be close. We need to see if any cameras captured something." The officers split up to search the immediate vicinity while Rex remained close to the shoe. The dog's gaze followed every movement and he occasionally barked softly when someone moved nearby. Passengers glanced at the barking dog and the small officers but quickly went back to their routines. Amir and Sana checked the seating area near the gate. Empty chairs, abandoned coffee cups, and scattered newspapers covered the floor, but there was no child. The terminal was filled with people, yet the little red shoe stood alone, mysterious and out of place. "Let's check the CCTV," Amir said, standing up and brushing his hands against his uniform. "Maybe we can see who left it here." The security office was busy with screens showing every corner of the airport. Amir motioned toward the monitor that displayed Gate 12. They rewound the footage from 30 minutes earlier. On the screen, a small boy appeared. He had messy hair and wore a green jacket that seemed too big for him. He held a woman's hand as they walked quickly through the terminal. Then, without warning, the boy dashed forward, his tiny legs moving fast. The woman, distracted by her phone, didn't notice. The boy disappeared into the crowd, and moments later the shoe appeared on the floor. Amir's eyes narrowed. He must have lost the shoe while running. But where did he go? Rex barked again and tugged at his leash, moving toward the security checkpoint. Amir followed, sensing the dog had picked up the boy's scent. At the checkpoint, officers were checking tickets and boarding passes. Rex sniffed around carefully, his nose working methodically. Amir noticed his ears twitching as Rex paused near a service door that led to the cargo and storage area. The dog growled softly, alerting Amir to something hidden from plain sight. "Good boy, Rex," Amir said, crouching beside him. He motioned to Sana. "Check inside carefully." The officers pushed open the storage room door slowly. Inside, the room was dim and slightly cold. Stacks of boxes and luggage filled the space, and a faint sound of muffled crying came from the far corner. Amir's heart beat faster. "Over here," Rex barked, leading Amir and Sana to the sound. Under a pile of blankets, a small figure shivered quietly. A little boy, no more than 5 years old, sat huddled and alone. His eyes were wide with fear and his cheeks were wet from tears. Sana knelt beside him gently. "It's okay. We're here to help you," she said softly. "You're safe now." The boy looked at Rex first and then at the officers. For a moment he seemed frozen, unsure whether to trust these strangers. But Rex sat calmly next to him, his presence comforting. Slowly the boy crawled closer to the dog, resting his small hand on Rex's fur. Amir surveyed the room. There were no signs of anyone else. No footprints, no luggage, no clues. Nothing except the boy, the shoe, and the dog that had led them here. Amir knew that finding the boy's family would be challenging, but for now the important thing was that the child was safe. Rex stayed alert, watching the door and listening to every sound. He growled softly when a distant noise echoed through the storage area, as though warning that danger could come from anywhere. Amir patted Rex's head. "Good boy. You found him." The boy's small voice finally broke the silence. I can't find my mommy," he whispered, shivering under the blankets. Amir nodded to Sana. "We'll find her. Don't worry, little one. You're not alone anymore." Sana offered the boy some water and a small snack from her pocket. He took it slowly, still clutching Rex's paw with one hand. Amir watched him carefully, thinking about how something as small as a single red shoe could lead to a discovery that might have been life-saving. "Let's check the CCTV again," Amir said. "We need to trace where he came from and where the woman went." Hours seemed to pass as they studied the footage. The boy had entered the terminal holding his mother's hand, then slipped away while she was distracted. The woman had walked toward the main exit, unaware of what had happened. Amir leaned back in his chair. "This is going to take time, but at least he's safe for now. Rex, you've done an excellent job today." Rex wagged his tail slightly, resting his head on the boy's shoulder. The small boy finally smiled faintly, feeling the warmth and protection of the dog. For the first time since arriving alone, he felt a sense of security. As the morning light grew brighter and travelers continued their routines, Amir, Sana, and Rex stayed vigilant. A tiny red shoe had alerted them to a potential crisis, and they had found the child before anything worse could happen. The airport seemed normal again, but for the officers and their K9 partner, the day had already taken a turn toward the extraordinary. Somewhere in the terminal, a mother continued to walk, unaware that her child had been left behind. But thanks to a police dog's sharp instincts and the quick actions of the officers, the little boy had been found and was safe. Rex lay down beside the boy, eyes scanning the room, ready for any movement, any sound, any threat. He had completed his mission for now, and would not leave the child's side until Amir and Sana ensured he was protected. In a place filled with hundreds of strangers, the bond between a boy and a dog had made all the difference, and all it took was one red shoe on the floor to reveal a story that could have ended in tragedy, but instead became a story of hope, courage, and care. The small boy sat huddled under the blanket, his tiny hands clutching Rex's fur. His eyes, wide with fear, darted around the storage room. The dim light cast shadows on the walls, making the stacks of boxes seem taller and more ominous than they really were. Amir and Sana gave him space but stayed close enough to reassure him. "Do you know your mommy?" Sana asked gently. The boy nodded slightly but said nothing. His voice was too small, almost lost in the echo of the room. Amir patted Rex on the head. The dog's alert gaze never left the boy, as though sensing the child's every emotion. Amir knew they needed to act quickly. The airport was a huge place and a child could easily wander further if left alone. He pulled out his radio. "Control, we have a found child near Gate 12. Begin tracing the mother's movements. Use CCTV and all available personnel. Child is safe with K9 on site." Rex let out a soft bark as if confirming the message. The officers moved swiftly. Sana checked the child's belongings: a small green backpack, a juice box, and a tiny toy car. Nothing else. There was no clue about his family except for the CCTV footage showing the woman leaving the terminal. "Amir," Sana said, pointing at the screen. "Look at her. She seems anxious, like she knows something is wrong. She keeps glancing back toward the gates." Amir studied the footage carefully. The woman was wearing a blue coat and carrying a large handbag. She looked worried, pacing slowly near the exit. It was clear she had noticed something was missing, but her reaction was odd. She didn't immediately return as a mother would. Instead, she hesitated, seemed unsure, then walked toward a nearby cafe. "This is strange," Amir said. "Either she doesn't know where the child went or she's hiding something." Sana frowned. "We have to find her. The boy could be lost for hours if we don't act fast." Rex's ears perked up again. He stood sniffing the air, then tugged Amir toward the cargo area door. His instincts told him that the child had not been left randomly. There was a trail, however faint, that he could follow. Amir nodded. "All right, boy, lead the way." The officers moved carefully through the terminal. They checked each corridor, every waiting area, even the bathrooms and small shops. Rex's nose remained close to the ground, picking up scents that humans could not detect. Travelers noticed the dog's intense focus, some smiling at the sight of the alert canine, others curious about the sudden police activity. Meanwhile, the boy's tears had stopped. He began to play quietly with his toy car, glancing at Rex for reassurance. The dog sat close, occasionally nudging the child with his nose, reminding him that he was safe. Hours seemed to pass, though in reality it was only minutes. Amir and Sana coordinated with airport staff, spreading the word about a lost child. Public announcements were made, but still no one came forward claiming him. Then Amir had an idea. "Sana, check the flights that just left. Maybe the mother boarded a plane in a hurry." Sana pulled up the flight logs. There it was. A woman matching the description had taken a flight to a neighboring city about 30 minutes ago. Amir frowned. "That means she left without the child. Why?" Rex barked sharply, drawing Amir's attention. The dog had picked up another scent, a faint trace leading from the storage room to a service corridor behind the gates. Amir motioned to Sana. "Follow me. Rex seems to have found something." The corridor was narrow and dimly lit, with luggage carts lined along the walls. Rex led the way with precision, sniffing each corner. Finally, he stopped near a heavy door marked "Staff Only." His tail was rigid and he growled softly. Amir checked the door. It was slightly ajar. "Stay close," he whispered to Sana. They entered slowly. Inside was a small room used by airport staff for deliveries. And then they heard it, the faintest sound of movement, almost a whisper. "Over here," Rex barked, moving toward a corner of the room. Amir and Sana followed. Under a pile of blankets sat the small boy, looking frightened but unharmed. "Hey there, little one," Sana said gently. The boy froze for a moment, then slowly crawled toward Rex. The dog nuzzled him softly, calming his nerves. Amir scanned the room for any hazards. None. It was just the boy, his backpack, and the quiet hum of the airport in the background. The officers finally relaxed. "He's safe," Amir said. "But we still need to find his parents." "Let's check the CCTV again," Sana nodded. They watched the footage repeatedly. The boy had been holding a woman's hand, running through the terminal, then slipping away into the crowd. The woman had appeared anxious but didn't return immediately. Instead, she walked toward the cafe. "This is puzzling," Amir said. "Why didn't she come back?" Sana shrugged. "Maybe she panicked. Maybe she didn't know where he went. But we have to find her." Meanwhile, Rex sat calmly beside the boy, his head resting gently on the child's lap. The boy held Rex's paw, feeling comfort and warmth. For the first time in what felt like hours, he smiled faintly. Amir pulled out his radio again. "Control, trace the woman. Use flight records and airport cameras. She may have left without the child. We need to locate her immediately." The control room confirmed that the woman had boarded a plane to a nearby city. Amir's jaw tightened. "She left without him. That is not normal," Sana frowned. "We have to assume the boy is lost in the terminal until proven otherwise. Let's coordinate with all gates and staff. Everyone should be looking." Rex sniffed again, alert. His instincts told Amir that the boy's story wasn't over yet. There was more to uncover, something hidden in the movements of the woman or the child. Amir trusted Rex's instincts completely. Hours passed with careful searching and coordination. Travelers began to notice the unusual police activity. Some asked questions, but the officers only reassured them that everything was under control. The boy, meanwhile, was given water and a snack by Sana. He accepted it quietly, still holding on to Rex. Amir watched the interaction and felt a sense of relief. The child was safe for now, protected by a K9 and 2 careful officers. Amir thought about the single red shoe lying on the terminal floor. It was such a small item, but it had started a chain of events that led them to the boy. Without that shoe, the child might have wandered further, or worse, remained unnoticed. Rex stood suddenly, ears up, tail rigid. He barked once, low and urgent. Amir followed the dog's gaze. The scent was faint but distinct, leading toward a service corridor near the terminal exit. "Looks like he wants us to follow," Amir said. "Let's see where it goes." The officers moved carefully down the corridor. Rex sniffed every corner, every edge of the walls. Finally, the corridor opened into a small staff area with a door slightly open. Behind it, they heard movement, soft footsteps, almost hurried. "Stay quiet," Amir whispered. They pushed the door slowly. Inside, there was no one. Only the faint smell of cleaning supplies and a small trace of the boy's scent. Rex barked softly, then sat, tail wagging slightly. The dog had led them here, but the path was momentarily lost. Amir and Sana took a moment to regroup. "We can't lose hope," Amir said. "He's safe and we'll find his family. We just have to follow the trail carefully." The boy leaned against Rex, holding his paw. The dog had given him courage, and Amir felt grateful for the bond between them. It was a reminder that sometimes instinct and loyalty could achieve what technology alone could not. The search for the boy's family had just begun, and Amir knew that the coming hours would be critical. One small red shoe had started a chain of events that could change lives. With Rex by his side and Sana's support, Amir was determined to find the answers and reunite the boy with the people who loved him. The little boy sat quietly under the soft blanket, his small hands clutching Rex's fur tightly. The German shepherd's calm presence gave him courage, but the fear in his eyes was still visible. Amir and Sana remained close, ensuring that the boy felt safe. The quiet hum of the airport beyond the storage room door made the situation feel both ordinary and extraordinary at the same time. A lost child in a bustling terminal could easily go unnoticed, but here, thanks to Rex, he was safe. "Do you know your mommy's name?" Sana asked gently, kneeling beside the boy. He shook his head slowly, his eyes downcast. Amir crouched on the other side, scanning the room carefully. There was nothing unusual, no objects that might hint at what had happened before he was found. Just the boy, his tiny backpack, and the familiar presence of Rex. Amir checked the boy's backpack once more. It contained a juice box, a small toy car, and a crumpled tissue. That was all. Nothing else. No note, no contact information, nothing to reveal who his parents were. "Looks like he's really alone," Amir said softly, more to himself than anyone else. Rex nudged the boy with his nose, almost as if encouraging him to speak. The boy looked up, hesitant, and whispered, I was waiting for my mommy. She went away." Amir exchanged a glance with Sana. "We'll find her," Sana said firmly. "Don't worry, you're not alone anymore." Amir radioed control again. "Control, the child is safe. We need a full search for the mother. Trace her movements through the terminal cameras. Check for flight records. She may have left the airport or boarded a plane. Time is critical." As they waited for a response, Amir and Sana tried to make the boy comfortable. They offered him a small bottle of water and a granola bar. He accepted them slowly, still holding Rex's paw for reassurance. The dog sat alert, watching the storage room door as though expecting someone to appear at any moment. Minutes later, the control room responded. "Officer Amir, the woman matching your description was captured on cameras near Cafe 7. She seems anxious, constantly looking back toward the gate. Flight records show she may have boarded Flight 214 to the neighboring city 15 minutes ago." Amir's brow furrowed. "She left without the child?" Sana shook her head. "It doesn't make sense. Why would she leave him behind?" Rex growled softly, sensing the unease in the room. He paced around the boy, sniffing the air, alert for any hint of danger. Amir patted Rex's head. "Good boy, stay close to him. We need your help more than ever." The officers decided to re-examine the CCTV footage from every angle. They watched as the boy had held the woman's hand while walking through the terminal. At one moment, he ran ahead excitedly, and in the chaos of passengers moving in different directions, the woman lost sight of him. She looked back, panicked, but then hurried toward the exit. She didn't notice that the boy had dropped one of his shoes, the red shoe that had led Rex to him. "This explains the shoe," Amir said. "He lost it while running, and it became the key for us to find him. but it also shows how easy it is for a child to disappear in a busy airport. Sana nodded. And look at her movements. She didn't come back. She seemed uncertain, almost frozen. It's possible she panicked and left instead of searching properly. Amir frowned. We can't assume the worst. But we have to be cautious. We need to trace her now, even if she left the airport. Rex barked sharply, then sniffed around the storage room. His ears twitched, picking up scents that Amir could not detect. The dog had a unique ability to find the faintest traces of people, and Amir knew they might need to follow Rex's lead if technology failed. While waiting for more information, from airport control, Amir and Sana focused on keeping the boy calm. He sat quietly, clutching Rex, occasionally glancing up at the officers with uncertain eyes. Sana tried to engage him gently. "What's your favorite color?" she asked. "Green," the boy whispered, holding his small toy car tightly. "Green, like your jacket," Sana said with a smile. The boy nodded slightly, showing a tiny hint of relief. Amir's thoughts were busy. The mother's actions were strange. She was captured on camera looking anxious, then moving toward the exit without the child. And the child's belongings were minimal. No note, no extra items, nothing to indicate why he might have been left alone. It was unusual, and Amir knew they had to uncover the truth carefully. Minutes later, the control room sent updated footage. The woman had indeed boarded a flight, but she had returned to the terminal moments later. She appeared confused, pacing near the cafe. Then she walked toward a staff area and seemed to notice something, possibly realizing her mistake. "She's back in the terminal," Amir said, relief mixed with concern. "We have to locate her before she leaves again. The child needs her." Rex barked again and nudged the boy as if signaling that it was time to move. Amir and Sana led the boy out of the storage room carefully, keeping him close. Rex stayed beside him, protective, alert to any movement in the corridors. As they moved through the airport, Amir contacted security staff. "We have a found child, possibly with the mother somewhere in the terminal. Please assist in locating her immediately." The officers scanned every corridor, checking cameras and listening for announcements. The boy held Rex's paw tightly, feeling the security the dog provided. For a moment, he allowed himself to imagine that he would be reunited with his mother. Finally, Amir spotted her near a small staff lounge. The woman's face was pale, eyes wide with worry. She held her handbag tightly, her movements quick and anxious. Amir gestured toward her. "Sana, that's her. Let's approach carefully." They moved slowly, ensuring the boy remained calm. Rex stayed close to the child, a silent guardian. The woman looked up, eyes widening as she saw the officers with her son. My boy," she whispered, stepping forward hesitantly. The boy's eyes lit up. "Mommy," he cried, running toward her. Rex barked happily, wagging his tail as the child was reunited with his mother. Amir and Sana watched carefully. The reunion was emotional but controlled. The woman knelt down, hugging her son tightly. She whispered softly, "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to leave you." The boy held on to her, finally feeling safe again. Rex sat beside them, his tail wagging slowly, satisfied that his mission had been successful. Amir spoke gently to the mother. "We need to know what happened. Why did you leave the terminal without your child?" the woman explained, her voice trembling. I was distracted. My phone died and I panicked. I lost sight of him for just a moment and then I didn't know where he went. I tried to find him, but I felt so helpless." Sana nodded. "That's why it's important to stay calm and follow airport staff if a child goes missing. Your son was found safe, thanks to Rex and the officers." The mother nodded, tears streaming down her cheeks. Thank you so much," Amir smiled softly. "That's what we're here for, but please make sure to stay vigilant in crowded places. It can happen in a split second." Rex barked once, almost as if agreeing, and nudged the boy gently. The child laughed softly, feeling the bond with the dog that had protected him throughout the ordeal. As the airport resumed its normal pace, travelers passed by unaware of the drama that had just unfolded. But for Amir, Sana, and Rex, The day had been extraordinary. A tiny red shoe had led them to a hidden child, and through patience, instinct, and teamwork, a family was reunited. The boy held his mother's hand tightly as they walked away, but he never let go of Rex's paw. The dog had become his silent protector, the bridge between fear and safety. Amir watched them disappear into the crowd, feeling a sense of satisfaction. This was more than a case solved. It was a reminder of the power of attention, care, and instinct. A small red shoe, a child's bravery, and a canine's loyalty had changed the course of the day. And as Rex sat quietly beside him, ears perked, Amir knew that the story was far from over. There were always more children to protect, more families to reunite, and more moments where courage and vigilance could make all the difference. After the boy was safely reunited with his mother, Amir and Sana thought their work was done. But airports were never simple places, and something in the woman's behavior had left them uneasy. She had been anxious, distracted, and almost seemed confused about how her child had gone missing. Amir couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to the story than a simple accident. Rex, the German shepherd, sat beside Amir, tail moving slowly, ears alert. The dog had been calm with the boy, but now he seemed tense, sniffing the air as if picking up something invisible to the human senses. Amir patted Rex's head. "Good boy. Let's see if there's more to find." Sana pulled out her tablet and began reviewing the CCTV footage again. "Amir, look at this," she said, pointing to a clip near Gate 12. The boy had been holding his mother's hand, walking calmly, until a sudden distraction caused him to run. The mother had seemed anxious but didn't return immediately. Instead, she moved toward the cafe, appearing almost hesitant, unsure of what to do. "That hesitation is strange," Amir noted. If it was a momentary lapse, she would have gone back immediately. Something made her pause. Sana nodded. "We should check her movements after she returned. Maybe she saw something or someone we didn't notice." Amir contacted airport security. "We need to locate her again and question her calmly. No judgment, just facts. We need to understand why she left her child, even for a few minutes." While waiting for a response, Amir and Sana stayed with the boy, who had returned to playing with his toy car and talking quietly to Rex. The dog sat protectively beside him, occasionally nudging him with his nose when he seemed uncertain. The little boy's laughter, though soft, was a relief after the tense hours of worry. Finally, airport security informed them that the woman was waiting at a small cafe near the terminal exit. She looked anxious, scanning the crowd constantly. Amir and Sana approached carefully. The woman's face brightened slightly when she saw the boy, but there was still a tension in her movements that caught Amir's attention. "Ma'am," Amir began politely, "we need to understand what happened today. Can you tell us why your child was alone?" The woman's voice trembled. I panicked. My phone died and I lost sight of him for a moment. I didn't know where he went. I thought I would find him quickly, but I got confused and worried." Sana observed her closely. "We need more details. Can you explain exactly what happened from the moment he slipped away?" The woman nodded, recounting her story carefully. She had been rushing to catch a flight, holding the boy's hand when suddenly her phone rang. She bent to check it, and in that moment the boy ran ahead. By the time she looked up, he had disappeared into the crowd. Panicked, she moved toward the exit and then hesitated, unsure whether to call airport staff or search further. Amir listened attentively. "It seems you returned to the terminal eventually. Did you see any staff or security before the child was found?" She shook her head. "No, I didn't. I was so worried I didn't notice anyone. I only realized how lost he was when I saw officers with my child." Sana typed quickly on her tablet. "Everything matches what we saw on CCTV. But there's one question left. When the child ran away, did anyone else approach him? Did you notice anyone unusual?" The woman frowned. "No, it was just him. And then I saw him with a police dog." Amir nodded. "Rex helped locate him quickly, but we need to confirm there was no foul play, just to ensure everything is clear and safe." Rex wagged his tail slightly, standing beside the boy as if reassuring both him and the officers. The child smiled faintly, stroking the dog's fur. With the mother's story clarified, Amir and Sana felt some relief, but the unease lingered. Something about the woman's hesitation and her anxious movements did not fit perfectly with an accidental separation. Amir decided to investigate further. He pulled up additional CCTV footage from earlier that morning, checking the movements of passengers near Gate 12. Most travelers were ordinary, but one figure caught his eye. A man in a dark jacket had walked past the boy moments before he ran. The man's face was partially obscured, but his movements were deliberate. He didn't interact with the child, but Amir felt a twinge of concern. "Sana, look at this," Amir said, pointing at the screen. "Do you see the man in the dark jacket? He moves oddly, almost like he's watching the child." Sana leaned closer. "Yes, he doesn't approach, doesn't talk. Just observes. But he disappears before the child runs off." "Could be coincidence," Amir shook his head. "Maybe, but I want to trace him. Just to be sure there was no one else involved. We need every detail confirmed." They contacted airport security to review footage from adjacent corridors and lounges. Every exit, every pathway was checked. The man in the dark jacket was gone from the terminal by the time the child was found. There was no interaction, no confrontation, just the presence of someone who had been watching. Meanwhile, the boy's mother was becoming calmer, holding her child tightly, and thanking Amir, Sana, and Rex repeatedly. "I can't believe he's safe. Thank you so much." "I didn't know what to do," she said softly. Amir smiled gently. "That's why we're here. But please, in busy places, always keep a close eye on your child. It only takes a moment for things to get confusing." Rex barked once softly as if agreeing. The boy laughed, hugging the dog's neck. For a moment, all the fear of the morning seemed to melt away. Yet Amir's mind stayed focused. Airports were filled with people from every background, moving in every direction. The slightest distraction could lead to dangerous situations. And though the boy was safe now, the presence of that unknown man reminded Amir that vigilance was never optional. Sana added, "We should notify all airport staff about the man in the dark jacket. Even if he didn't do anything, it's important for security to be aware." Amir agreed. "Yes, better to be cautious. Rex helped today, but we cannot rely on luck alone." As the officers coordinated with airport staff, the boy and his mother were escorted to a quiet lounge area. The boy played with his toy car while Rex lay nearby, keeping watch. The mother, finally relaxed, held her son close, whispering reassurances and thanking the officers repeatedly. Amir and Sana continued reviewing footage and preparing reports. The unknown man's brief presence was noted, and all possible exits were checked to ensure no further incidents could occur. The child's safety remained their priority, but awareness of potential threats was essential. Hours passed, and the airport gradually returned to its normal rhythm. Travelers moved through the terminal, unaware of the drama that had unfolded near Gate 12. The tiny red shoe, once a simple object on the floor, had triggered a series of events that revealed the importance of vigilance, instinct, and teamwork. Amir finally leaned back, glancing at Rex. "Good job, boy. Today you were more than a helper. You were a hero." Rex wagged his tail slowly, satisfied but still alert to every sound around the terminal. The little boy, now smiling and calm, hugged Rex again, feeling safe for the first time since the morning's chaos. Sana smiled at Amir. "You know, sometimes it's not the technology or cameras that save the day, it's instinct. And dogs like Rex, he knew exactly what to do." Amir nodded. "Exactly. And that's why we do this work. Every detail matters, every moment counts. Today, one small shoe made all the difference." The mother, now calmer, approached Amir. "Thank you again. I promise to be more careful in the future. You saved my son." Amir smiled kindly. "We're happy he's safe. That's what matters most." The child waved at Rex one last time, and the dog barked softly in return. Then, holding his mother's hand, he walked away toward the departure gates. Safe and sound, Amir and Sana watched them go, knowing that the mystery of the morning had been resolved, but also aware that airports would always be places of movement, change, and small surprises. Vigilance, care, and instinct were essential, and today had been a perfect example of that. Rex stood beside them, alert and proud, a reminder that sometimes, even the smallest presence, a red shoe, a child, a loyal dog, could make the biggest difference in the world. The little boy held tightly to his mother's hand as they moved toward a quiet lounge area. The tension in his small body had eased, and he felt the comforting presence of Rex beside him. The dog had been his protector, his silent guardian. and he stroked Rex's fur gently, still unsure if the whole ordeal was real or just a bad dream. Amir and Sana followed at a short distance, their eyes constantly scanning the terminal. The morning had been long, filled with uncertainty, but finally the child was safe. Yet Amir couldn't ignore the lingering questions about the mother's earlier behavior. The hesitation, the panic, and the unusual route she had taken after losing sight of her son. Sana noticed Amir's furrowed brow. "You're still thinking about it, aren't you?" she asked quietly. Amir nodded. "Yes, there's something that doesn't quite add up. I want to make sure we understand everything completely. Even if it seems like an accident, we need the full story." While the child played quietly with his toy car, Rex sitting loyally beside him, Amir approached the mother gently. "Ma'am, we understand this was stressful," he said softly. "But to ensure your child's safety and for our records, we need a clear account of what happened. Can you explain every moment from the time he slipped away until now?" The woman took a deep breath. I panicked," she said again. "When I lost sight of him, I didn't know what to do. I was afraid, so I left momentarily. I only realized later that he had been found and safe." Amir nodded but pressed further. "We need to understand why you didn't immediately seek help. You are aware the airport has staff and security to assist in such situations, correct?" "Yes," she replied, her voice trembling. "But I didn't think clearly. I was scared and confused. I just wanted to find him on my own." Sana watched the interaction carefully. "It seems like an honest mistake, Amir. But we still need to confirm there was no other involvement." Amir agreed. "Yes, better to be thorough. Airports are crowded places. Any missing child must be treated with full attention." Just then, a security officer approached. "Officer Amir, we traced the woman's movements and reviewed all nearby cameras. Everything confirms what she said. There was no foul play. The child was never in danger from anyone else." Amir finally allowed himself to relax slightly. "Good. Let's make sure she and the child remain in a safe area until we complete the report." The mother hugged her son tightly, tears streaming down her face. "I can't thank you enough," she said. "I was so worried. I didn't know what would happen." Amir smiled kindly. "The important thing is that he's safe. That's what matters most." Rex barked softly as if acknowledging the mother's gratitude. The child laughed faintly, feeling a sense of relief and happiness he hadn't known all morning. He hugged the dog again, this time more confidently, knowing that his loyal companion had been by his side through everything. As the family settled, Amir and Sana took a moment to review the events. The tiny red shoe had been the key to finding the child, alerting Rex and leading the officers directly to him. It was remarkable how a single object could trigger a series of actions that ensured the child's safety. Sana smiled. "You know, Amir, this is a perfect example of why attention to small details matters. That little shoe made all the difference." Amir nodded. "And Rex's instincts. Technology helps, but sometimes it's instinct that saves the day." The mother looked up and spoke quietly, almost to herself. "I never realized how quickly things could go wrong. I thought I was being careful, but it only took a moment for him to run off." Amir placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "That's why airports have staff and security. And now you know in the future to stay alert and ask for help immediately. Today your child was lucky." The little boy held his mother's hand tightly, glancing at Rex. "Thank you, dog," he whispered softly. Rex wagged his tail slowly as if he understood every word. After ensuring the family was calm, Amir and Sana prepared their final report. Every detail was documented. The lost shoe, the child's movements, the mother's initial panic, and Rex's crucial role in locating the boy. The airport's security team praised the officers and the K-9 for their quick response. Later, the mother approached Amir one last time. "I want to apologize for what happened and thank you again. I promise to never let him out of my sight like that again." Amir smiled. "That's all we need. The important thing is that he's safe and happy. That's the best ending we could hope for." As they watched the family walk toward the exit, Amir reflected on the day's events. It had been tense, filled with uncertainty, but ultimately it had a positive outcome. The small red shoe, the lost child, the vigilant officers, and the loyal K-9 had all played roles in a story that could have ended in tragedy, but instead ended in relief and gratitude. Rex lay down quietly, ears twitching at every sound. He had been the hero of the day, his instincts guiding the officers to the child's location. Amir patted him on the head. "Good boy, Rex. Today you saved a life." Sana laughed softly. "I think he deserves a treat after all that hard work." The boy's mother noticed Rex's tail wagging and smiled. "You really are amazing, aren't you?" she said softly. The child nodded, holding Rex's paw one last time. Amir and Sana watched as the family disappeared into the distance, feeling satisfied that their efforts had made a real difference. Airports were places of movement and chaos, but today had proven that vigilance, teamwork, and instinct could prevent tragedy. Even as travelers rushed past, unaware of the drama that had unfolded, Amir felt a quiet pride. They had not only found a lost child, but had restored a family's peace. Rex lay beside him, calm now but still alert, ready for the next situation that might require his keen senses. Hours later, Amir and Sana returned to their patrol, ready to face the routine challenges of the airport. But the story of the tiny red shoe and the lost boy would stay with them forever. A reminder of how small actions and careful attention could make a life-changing difference. The boy's laughter and Rex's gentle presence had reminded them why they did their work: to protect, to assist, and to ensure that even the smallest members of society could be safe in a world full of movement and unpredictability. And in that bustling airport, the tiny red shoe lay quietly in memory, a symbol of courage, loyalty, and the extraordinary bond between a child and a canine police dog who refused to let anything harm him. As the sun set over the city, casting golden light across the terminal floors, Amir, Sana, and Rex prepared for the next call, the next case, knowing that their vigilance had made all the difference today. The story of a lost shoe, a hidden child, and a loyal dog had come to a perfect close, safe, resolved, and unforgettable.